When foreign investors enter a joint venture in Vietnam, most focus on the overall deal structure, capital contribution, and market opportunity. But in reality, not every part of a joint venture agreement in Vietnam carries the same weight. There are specific clauses that determine whether you maintain control or lose it. If these clauses are not properly drafted, your investment may be legally valid, but strategically vulnerable. A joint venture agreement in Vietnam can be long and detailed, but its effectiveness depends on a few critical provisions. These clauses define how decisions are made, how risks are shared, and how conflicts are resolved. For foreign investors in Vietnam, understanding what to include in a joint venture agreement is not optional, it is essential for protecting your position. Voting rights are one of the most important clauses in any joint venture agreement in Vietnam. They determine who has authority over key decisions. Even if you hold a majority of capital, poorly structured voting rights can limit your control. The agreement must clearly define voting thresholds and ensure that your influence matches your investment. Reserved matters are decisions that require approval from specific shareholders. These may include major investments, changes in business scope, or appointment of key personnel. Without clearly defined reserved matters in a joint venture agreement in Vietnam, critical decisions may be made without your consent. This is one of the most common legal risks for foreign investors. Capital contribution is not just about how much each party invests, it is about when and how that capital is contributed. A well-drafted joint venture agreement in Vietnam must include clear timelines, conditions, and consequences for non-compliance. Without these provisions, delays or disputes over capital can disrupt the entire venture. The board of directors plays a central role in corporate governance in Vietnam. The joint venture agreement must define how the board is structured, how members are appointed, and how decisions are made. Without proper board control, foreign investors may find themselves unable to influence daily operations despite their ownership. Deadlock occurs when parties cannot agree on important decisions. This is a common issue in joint ventures in Vietnam. A strong joint venture agreement must include mechanisms to resolve deadlock, such as buyout options or escalation procedures. Without these clauses, the company may become unable to operate effectively. An investment is only successful if you can exit under fair conditions. Exit clauses in a joint venture agreement in Vietnam define how shares can be transferred, how valuation is determined, and when investors can leave the partnership. Without clear exit mechanisms, foreign investors may be locked into unfavorable situations. Non-compete provisions ensure that partners do not engage in competing activities that harm the joint venture. In Vietnam, where market knowledge and local networks are critical, this clause is especially important. A properly drafted non-compete clause protects your business from internal competition and conflicts of interest. At LTS Law, we provide legal services for foreign investors in Vietnam by drafting and reviewing joint venture agreements that focus on these critical clauses. We ensure that your agreement is not only compliant with Vietnam law but also structured to protect your control and long-term interests. Before signing any joint venture agreement in Vietnam, visit lts.com.vn and consult with our legal team to ensure your investment is built on a solid legal foundation.